Thanks for joining me for these readings. Just had a rather disturbing reading on Nikki Haley. And so now, by request, Mike Pence. There have been persistent rumours around Mike Pence. Oops. Is he gay or not? Many people think he protests too much about the gay issue. I'm not entirely convinced. That's not what this reading is about. But it does remind me of that old joke about Republicans and evangelicals, that the worst nightmare for them is to be caught in a motel room with a live boy or a dead girl. And it's like people who repress that sort of sexuality and take that holier-than-thou view on things, they're often the ones that are caught up doing things that are really naughty. It's a funny old world, isn't it? So Mike Pence, the ghost, the spectre, is he the most boring man in the world? I think we could safely say second most, because there might be someone more boring that we don't know about. So definitely he's a candidate for that award. Does he speak? We don't know. You'd have to think he's hoping that Trump's going to fall over and that he gets the big gig, wouldn't you really? But it's hard to get a fix on him. He's such a marshmallow in a suit. All right. Now I'm going to do a block reading for Mike Pence, a card that fell out of the shuffle. Here we go, Knight of Cups. So we're taking that as his signifying card. As I was just saying it, I think in his heart, at the core of this, he's hanging in, waiting for this opportunity to be given to him to be POTUS 46. I mean, I don't think you have to be psychic to get to that interpretation. So let's move on from there. With Mike Pence, we're going to do past, present, future in this reading. So let the cards come on down. I'll move that up a bit. The Knight of Cups, remember. Keep that in mind. Okay. The past for Mike Pence. Apprentice card. I'm sure he was a very diligent, hard-working young man. I think he's, got all the ingredients for being the perfect right-wing Christian who buys all the conservative ideas on how people should behave and do things, but puts a pleasant face on it. He doesn't look demonic like some of them. He looks really reasonable, and yet that's why so often these right-wing Christians can be as dangerous as the alt-right who are masked up and rushing around in the middle of the night. So I think he was a very dutiful son. I don't know his family story, but I think he stuck it at the game. I don't think he was a natural to politics. It might even have been decided for him by someone in the family. But he worked really hard at it. And to date, no obvious scandals. He has the Empress here in his past too, who I think, younger than his mother, I think this is his wife. So his wife might have been the force behind his career. That would not surprise me. But she's been an anchor, she's been a rock, she's been a very good Christian wife. She's his reference point in the world. That could be a problem. Okay, we're still in his past. We've got here the Nine of Wands. the embattled card. He knows it's not over yet. This figure knows there are more skirmishes to come. They have survived littler battles, and that there's more of those. But also, he's been slightly wounded, but he's probably a bit tougher than he looks, and he certainly believes. So he's going to hang in through the skirmishes, and he's proved that. He's just sort of been there, not rocking the boat, just being seen to be a decent man. Always make me a bit suspicious. Okay, we're coming to the current stuff. Wheel of Fortune. It's not an accident that Mike Pence is the Vice President. He, to a certain extent, was destined to be there. Regardless of what you think about karma or whatever, in a more general sense, you'd have to say that he was driven enough, whether it was by the wife or the family or his own ego and ambition, to make that his life work. So it's the Wheel of Fortune that he got to this place and time. There was elements of luck and destiny, because he's not an obvious player, because he's so dreary and mealy-mouthed. But these things, the hard work, it's like that old saying, you know, you make your own luck, if you like. He did the hard yards to be there. The card of the past and nostalgia, with Mike Pence, it's in the central position of the reading. He really believes that the past is better than now, and Make America Great Again is really code for let's wind the world back 50 years and hope for the best. And it's this Dopey Gillis, or whatever those programs were, Father Knows Best, or there were all those programs that we in the rest of the world had to watch, the Brady Bunch and stuff, you know, that all just shiny families. And I think with the Brady Bunch, just as a slight digression, they could only be a blended family, as they're called now, because their partners died. You couldn't be divorced and remarry. I'm sure their partners died. So it's all about reproducing the fiction of America having this radiant past. We're still in his current column here. I'm not quite sure with this. Looking at all of that, then we come to this card. I think this card's a younger man than Pence. I think... Give me a moment. Okay, here's what I actually think. I think Pence is the younger man to Trump. He thinks he's in the service of the king and will get the big gig. But I think, should Trump get impeached, should Trump have a heart attack, should Trump be taken out of the picture for any reason, or just resign, I don't see Pence as actually being the next president for any length of time. He might step into the role for 2 weeks or 3 months, but I think actually someone younger is going to take hold. And I saw this particular card, and my feeling on it now is the Democrat leader, the young new Democrat leader who we've yet to meet, is going to pip him at the post. So in other words, he spent all his life waiting to get here, and something happens to Trump, and it should be him. And I think a Democrat's going to just jump in on top of him. Oh, wow. Poor old Mike Pence. Now, short-term future. He's hedging his bets. He's got more money than you realise. Mike Pence is not flashy. You know, he's not someone who wears 6 Rolexes and flings on the bling. he hoards his money. It's his security. So he's sitting on considerable amounts of money. So despite not being flashy, don't be deceived. He's a very rich man. That gives him security and comfort. And I suspect he might need it. I don't think he's going to have a job down the track. And this is sort of borne out with this next card too. Right. I think his hands are tied. This is in the future. His hands are tied. He can't do a bloody thing about it. This other person's going to ride in. And that is because of the Hierophant, which we just had in Nikki Haley's reading. The system of law, the system of democracy, the way things work. There are higher forces at work. So even though Trump has single-handedly tried to dismantle basically the Constitution and the working arms of government, that's what he does best, is tearing things down. The system sort of hangs together but also prevails. So I think this would indicate to me that he's voted out either by the people of America with the new Democrat, or voted out by his own party as being seen as tainted when the indictments come down and so forth. Because even though the Flynn stuff was about I forget the actual wording, but basically Flynn failed to disclose to the vice president. So really, did he fail to disclose? Did Pence really not know anything about anything during the campaign? So people are divided on this. It's possible he didn't know anything. He's just one of those people who puts his fingers in his ear, la la la, doesn't want to know, and he's an easy guy to avoid. Or he could be in it up to his tits and get shunted out by the system. In any event, I don't see a long-term position for Mike Pence in the US government. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I'll be doing more readings as soon as I can. Thanks, guys. Keep up the comments. Don't forget the little, hands up thingies. Bye.